We're slashing prices at the gym. I've lost my mind, and you need to take advantage of these sales before I come to my senses. Fitness coaching has never been cheaper in the bargain basement. Does that sound like something from the best steakhouse in town? No, it sounds like a late night infomercial for a questionable product. I'll be blunt. Don't offer discounts at your gym. Don't do that on Black Friday. Don't do it on any other day. Slashing rates is a horrible idea. Two Brain founder Chris Cooper is here to tell you why. He's also going to tell you exactly how to say no to discounts. I'm Mike Workington. This is Run a Profitable Gym. Please hit subscribe wherever you're watching or listening. I'm going to tell you a secret. Our 2024 guide to Black Friday for gym owners, it's coming out tomorrow. So you can DM Chris on Facebook November 19th or later and get it. Or you can go to gymownersunited.com to connect with him there, follow the instructions on his post, and you can get that guide that will walk you through exactly how you retain your profit on Black Friday. Coop, welcome. How are you? Black Friday's approaching. Are you nervous?
Not at all. No, I'm excited. I call it Bright Friday at my gym.
Bright Friday because you're keeping 100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
Let me ask you this before we start. What's the worst discount you've seen in the fitness industry? Like the thing that makes you wanted to walk into the gym and just say to the owner, like, dude, what are you doing? Or my friend, what are you doing?
Well, so you usually uncover these when a gym sells and the buyer is like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. When I dug in, things were worse than I thought. And one of the funniest was this guy was digging into all the discounts that the previous owner had given. And one person was trading a membership for office supplies, and the office supplies were being stolen from this other person's workplace. So the deal was, Mike, like, yo, I'll give you a free membership. You bring me whiteboard markers because whiteboard markers are expensive.
Wow. So you literally see this guy like funneling whiteboard markers into his sweatpants on the way out of the office and then taking him to the gym.
Yeah. I mean, hey, this is a talk about like values, right? Maintaining our corporate value.
Wow.
So, the question is like, well, how many whiteboard markers? And like, what, the price of toilet paper is going up, but no, obviously that's a dumb discount. But really, when you think about it, like any discount equates to basically the same thing on a coaching service.
Yeah. The one that I really hate is when it says something like, train for 2 weeks for free or something like that. Cause I always think about the buffet where it's like, well, I'm doing the classes anyway. It doesn't cost me anything, but no restaurant owners like eat at my buffet for 2 weeks straight and then decide if you like it. Like it doesn't go like that. But in fitness, we somehow think, oh, if they keep training with us, they might buy a membership. And it's just like, you're giving away 2 weeks. I've seen 4 weeks. Like I hate those ones a lot. So they're out there too. Gym owners, if you're listening, we're going to tell you how to get around these things and how to build some value so you don't have to offer discounts. And so you're getting out of the bargain basement and you can become that best steakhouse in town. So Chris, first question, why do we see so many sales and discounts at this time of year? Like why should gym owners stay away from this stuff when every other industry is discounting stuff for Black Friday?
Well, product businesses are discounting their products because, as you produce more units, the cost of production per unit goes down. So they're going to make it up in volume. But in a coaching business or any service business, really, you can't make it up in volume because you have a limited amount of time and expertise to give people. So even if you're running a group class, where you've got like 12 or 13 people in a group, the number of people that you can get is finite. So if you look at our state of the industry data, what you'll see is the average gym is now charging about $170 a month for an unlimited package if you're a CrossFit gym. But their ARM, like what they're actually collecting, is closer to 120. And that's because they've got so many discounts that they're not making nearly what they think they're making. And so they get in this vicious cycle of, I need to get more clients to get more money in the door. But the more clients I have, the more expenses I have. And so eventually, the cost just keeps up with the new revenue they're bringing in. And you just keep going further and further down the hole. You're serving more people. The landlord's making more, the government's making more, but you're not making more. You're just working way harder for the same money. And that's the bottom line with discounts is like, you just keep working harder and harder and harder and never getting ahead. So the reason that people run these discounts is they think that it's a marketing ploy, but one of two things happen. Number one, either you receive less money from the people who wanted to sign up anyway. So you wind up teaching your good clients bad habits, like they just wait for the sale, or you wind up attracting the people who are not going to stick around anyway. So you give them this short-term deal thinking this is what's going to attract them. And then they take the deal, but then they also take the next deal from the gym down the road. And so you're in this like never-ending price war. So discounts don't work for marketing. They can actually harm you though, too, for marketing. So for example, in the first instance, I said, you teach the best clients bad habits. There was a massive successful from the outside gym over in Hawaii. I won't name the gym. They had 3 locations at the time. And what they were doing was this Black Friday paid in full discount. So if you on Black Friday paid for a year in full, you would get 2 months for free, right? So you'd pay for 10 and get 2 more. Well, what happened was that after the first year, it looked like it was a huge success. They got a lot of revenue in the door in November. But by the time September rolled around, they ran out of money because they just didn't have a profit margin where they could be giving this much away. So September, oh crap, what are we going to do? So they went out to the members again and said okay, paid in full discount, same deal, pay for 10 months, get 2 free. And that bridged the gap almost. And then next year, guess what happened in July? They ran out of money again. And eventually what they realized was they had taught all of their best, most valuable customers to pay less and less and wait for these special deals. And, eventually that killed them. They went bankrupt.
Yeah. And listeners, I'll lay it out for you in just real world terms. You'll never drive past an auto shop and see a mechanic saying, fixing your car 50% off. Because that time is super valuable and it's always filled. But you might see that same mechanic offer a sale and say, hey, Michelin tires are 20% off this month because he's got too many in the warehouse, right? That's a different thing. That's a
service.
Product versus service. So think about this, guys. You might discount something. Maybe you're trying to get rid of some t-shirts from 2023 or something like that that are taking up space and get rid of those, discount those. Maybe never discount your services because you only have so much time. And if you market yourself properly, you can fill that time with a high value client who pays full price. And you don't have to give away the money that should go in your bank account. So that's the lesson. Product, service, 2 different things. Do not get sucked in by product discounts. You are a service provider. You're providing a high value service. Chris, do gym owners actually need to cut rates to get clients? Why are some of them so tempted to give away their profit?
Well, they just don't know how to market. They don't have any marketing systems built. So, in Two Brain, we teach 4 different marketing funnels. And if those are running all the time, gyms in Two Brain are not tempted to give Black Friday discounts because they don't need to, and they know what else to do. In fact, a couple of them have made some really amazing Black Friday posts recently. And I made one last year too.
We'll show that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Where I'm just saying here's what a Black Friday means at Catalyst. And so here we go. Super Black Friday deal. When you buy any membership between now and forever, I'll give 35% of your purchase to hospitals, roads, and your kids' education. Obviously, I'm talking about taxes here, right? People forget that if I make money at my gym, a lot of that is going right back out to benefit their community. Also, I'll employ 6 people and most of their paychecks are going to go to taxes too. We also sponsor kids to play sports, et cetera. You can see this on the screen. It's a great post. And if you're listening, feel free to copy that. I'm not trying to make people feel dumb for buying Black Friday sales on televisions, right? That's not it at all. What I'm trying to do is set the context that there's a difference between paying for a professional service and buying a discount on pots and pans. Go ahead and save 30% on pots and pans. If you want to line up all night for that, that's fine. But do not expect a discount on a professional service. If your wife needed surgery on her teeth, you would not go out looking for a coupon.
Lawyers don't really hand out those, the tear the coupon ones where it's 10 cents off this. And if you buy one divorce, you get the second one for free. Those things don't really happen,
Yeah.
Professional services, things like that. Again, put yourself in a different category. For some reason, gym owners seem to think that we need to discount things to get more people. But like you said, if you're bringing in a steady stream of high value clients all year because you're doing it properly, you don't get to Black Friday and say, I need more. You're I've already got 3 per month or whatever the number that was that you set with your mentor that you're targeting. And so it's just this steady thing. And if you want, you can do other things say, bring a friend. And we'll just best clients, bring your best friends. We'll probably get 4 or 5 out of theirs and we'll get them at 100% full price. We're not going to discount this stuff. So that's an interesting one. That post that Chris shared is in our guide for gym owners for Black Friday. You can get that again by DMing Chris on Facebook, November 19th or later to get that one if you want to copy it. It had a great response. I've seen people copy Chris's post and post a version of it on their pages. They got a great response. It works. You should use it, tailor it, put it out and charge full price. So Chris, let's talk about exactly how to say no to discounts because some people just, they fumble and they, what do we do? So what's the line? What is your very first line about discounts when someone asks?
We don't have discounts.
And that's it. There's just nothing else you have to say.
This literally came up last week. And so I just want to just briefly mention the principle here that 100% is easier than 98%. So when I was a brand new gym owner, we did have discounts. We had discounts for firefighters, police, and military in our city. And it was, I don't remember, 20% off. And then one day a nurse came in and said, well, you don't think that what I do is valuable?
It is.
You know, of course it is. They're right. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. It's also for nurses. And then a teacher came in. Wait a minute. You know,
so you're Oprah, you get a discount and you get a discount.
Yeah. And before you know it, like I'm looking for excuses to give people discounts, right? It just becomes this slippery mental slope. And the other problem is that it doesn't scale. So if you have like a staff person standing at the front desk and somebody walks in and they're like, how much to train here? The staff person can't even give them the answer because the price changes all the time. You know, so for example, my general manager does our no sweat intros now. And a couple came in last week and they said, is there a discount if we both do on-ramp together? And he said, no, because you're both going to get one-on-one attention from me. You're just going to be coming in at the same time for your convenience. And they said, okay. He didn't have to ask me. And so the principle of 100% is easier than 98% is true because you don't have to make a decision. The precedent has been set. It's the same rule over and over and over again. You actually build trust among consumers. And we're going to come to this in a minute. Like, what do you say when somebody actually asks? But, you know, when somebody comes in and says, hey, can I get a discount? And you say, how's 20% sound? Their next thought is going to be, can I get more? Is he giving 25% to somebody else? Is he negotiating with somebody else? Is that really your best offer? And now it becomes this negotiation. And this is exhausting for the gym owner because now they have to make decisions on every transaction and the staff can't make that decision. And so, you know, it doesn't scale. The precedent is more important than the rule. I'll give you another example of that. So we had a long time ago, we used to have open gym access and we had a class starting at 6 p.m. And, you know, this guy named David, who was a fantastic client, great dude, he came in during open gym access and he set himself up to do a half marathon row. Great, you know, go for it. The problem was that he set himself up to do this half marathon row like 20 minutes before class started. So he's rowing and he's rowing and he's rowing. And of course, the rowers are kind of out of the way. He's not making a lot of noise. It would have been very easy for me to just let him finish. And instead, 5 minutes before class started, I said, David, like in 5 minutes, class starts and you're done. And he said, well, I still got like 5K to go. And I said, you better either like break the world record or, you know, in 5 minutes, get as far as you can by all means. But in 5 minutes, class starts and we're done. Well, he got off the rower and he made a big show and he left and he never came back. But we've never had a problem with people working out like on their own during class again. There's never been another awkward conversation for a decade. And it's because my staff understands that like the precedent is more important than each specific instance because we're going to be here for a long time. So, you know, when somebody comes in and they're like, hey, I can get a discount. That gym's doing a Black Friday. That guy will give 20% off for firefighters. We're prepared and we know what to say.
So we don't have discounts. That's the line right off the top. You just don't have them. And that makes you look like a much more confident service provider, especially when you're marketing a high value service like personal training, coaching, that kind of stuff. You're not trying to, how about 25? How about 30? Like that sounds like you're
willing to do anything.
Yeah. What can I do to get this client? We're not trying to do that. So Chris, when would you say this? You hinted at it, but I'll give you the line. You tell me when you would say this. We don't play those games.
Yeah. So if somebody compares us to somebody else, well, there's another CrossFit gym down the road and they're offering 20%. That's when I would say we don't play those games. But most of the time I try to be a little bit more tactful. And so if I just say, we don't have discounts and they say, why? Then what I would say is our service is already as inexpensive as we can make it for this level of service. So now what you're doing is you're shifting the conversation from price to level of service. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to be like, oh, Chris, you're so wise and witty. What it means is that the people who prioritize the value of your service will say, I get it. The people who prioritize price will say, see ya. And they're going to go find the cheaper spot, but they're going to do that anyway. And, you know, if you're playing these discount games, you are never going to be the cheapest forever. You will never win that race to the bottom, and you don't want to.
And you said the word that this rate is as inexpensive as possible for this level of service. You didn't say cheap, right? Why is that?
No. Again, it's framing value. You have to be very cognizant of the language that you use. This is something that we talk about in Tinker. Any leaders in our program, they understand like the words that you use are important. If you say the word cheap, what you are doing is planting the word cheap in the minds of the consumer, right? Cheap has connotation beyond price. As inexpensive for this level of service frames things a little bit differently. Like, okay, what is that person not delivering that allows them to be 20% less? Okay. We don't play those games is a little bit confrontational, but when somebody is aggressive and says, why don't you do this? Other CrossFit gyms do it. And we do get that, twice a month, we can say we don't play those games. And the good people will say, like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Why? They'll ask follow-up questions.
So there's another one. So you talked about different service providers, and we all have these people are out there. They're great people. They do a lot for the community and so forth. And there are groups of them, and they'll expect discounts in other places, and they'll often ask at gyms. So here's the line that you have said before. We treat all of our service professionals equally well because we know your service is critical for your safety. Talk about that one and how it applies to, say, any of these great service providers in the community.
Yeah, I mean, these people need your service more than anybody else, but they did not sign up to dedicate their lives in exchange for a 10% discount. Okay. And it actually, I had to have like service people explain that to me because I thought I was doing them a favor by giving them a certain percentage off. And one guy, his name was Rob, actually got offended. He's like, I did not sign up to risk my life pulling people out of burning buildings to get 15% off at your effing gym. And I've heard that over and over, mostly from military people, like, do not belittle my service. We will say to them, like, look, we know that your life depends on your fitness, and we will do everything that we can to protect you by giving you like top of the line coaching, the best service that we can possibly give you, the best programming, access to all the equipment that you'll ever need to make your job as safe as possible. And also thank you for your service.
Yeah. And you said an interesting thing one time about if you're a veteran or a service provider, a firefighter, police, whatever, and you run a gym at this point, you sacrificed enough. You don't have to sacrifice more. You can charge full price because you've already done your service and you deserve to be paid properly. That's an interesting one. And I saw one of our mentors who had served in the military had said one time, he had posted on this, and he just said, like, I think it was in one of our private groups. He just said, guys, I am a passionate service person. I'm still in the reserves. I'm still all in the club. I'm telling you from the inside, and as a 20-year professional in that field, you do not have to give me or anyone like me a discount. We don't expect it. We don't need it. Thank you. And I thought that was a really powerful thing from a service person.
Yeah, I honestly think, so what at my gym today, it's Remembrance Day in Canada. So thank you, everybody listening to this. I know you're listening to this later, but thank you for your service. At my gym in Canada, we do a memorial workout every year called Scotty on Remembrance Day. And this is how we remember Master Corporal Scott Vernelli, who was killed in March 2009 by an improvised explosive device. And we use our gym to memorialize him. And sometimes we make a donation. Now, the problem is that a lot of gyms can't afford to make a donation, but they are making a donation with all the discounts that they're giving anyway. And that is actually what's stopping them from becoming profitable, from making enough money to be able to contribute when they can. They're giving discounts and basically like donating 20% of their membership to the wrong people, the people who don't need it. What we're doing is not giving discounts, making more money, and giving that money to the people who actually do need it. And that to me is like a really important principle of entrepreneurship is you make lots of money and you give money away to people who actually need it instead of giving these random 15 to 20% discounts to people who don't need it because you don't know how to market.
Yeah. And I'll just, to seal that one up, I'll just say, even if you find a very deserving group, what about the next very deserving group? And then it's just this daisy chain like you laid out, and all of a sudden you're giving away third-year university students majoring in communications in this area code. Right. And it's just like, dude, like it spirals real fast. And it, like Chris said, all these discounts add up. They take money of your family's pocket and they actually kneecap your ability to do charitable work and to donate to people who are in great need. I'm not saying that some of those groups are in great need, but you get what I'm saying. There are, Chris donates bikes to local kids who really could use them to like escape things and enjoy their lives and become fitter. That's a great project. If Chris kneecapped his business and didn't have the money to do that, that goes away. So that's the principle there. Chris, let's go to the next one here. Let's talk about, instead of offering discounts, what should gym owners do? How do they build value?
Well, the way they build value is by coaching people to change their lives, providing an excellent service. And that costs money. You can't give 20% off and still be able to pay to get coaches developed. You can't build meaningful careers for yourself. You can't build meaningful careers for your staff. You can't tip the waiter what they should be tipped. And you become the next person going out there looking for discounts. What happens is if you're the one that's always out there looking for discounts as an entrepreneur, because you need the discounts, you just perpetuate this downward spiral, and I'm so passionate about this that we've actually stopped accepting discounts when, we go to the bike shop and the bike shop is like, Chris, I'll give you 20% off that helmet. Don't want it. And the reason is that I care more about that bike shop being here in 10 years than I do about the $20 that I'm going to save on the new racing helmet. So I'm not asking other people to go that far. I'm just saying, like, as entrepreneurs, you are probably undercharging as it is. Do not perpetuate the cycle by giving more discounts, driving yourself into bankruptcy, and, forcing everybody to just keep getting cheaper and cheaper because you can't afford it. Instead, lead the charge back to a positive, caring economy that can support other people by charging what you're worth and not discounting it.
Yeah, and the way that you charge what you're worth is by showing value. And that the way we do it at Two Brain is the prescriptive model. You sit people, it's not a free trial of like, try my stuff and walk out the door and maybe you like it. You sit down, ask them some questions, find out what their goals are, find out where they're currently at. You draw the map from where they are to where they want to go. You lay out the exact plan. And this is like professional level stuff here. This is not every gym does this. You lay out that plan, you tell them the price, and away you go. And when someone does that, then 3 months later, you meet with them, you show them their progress, and you make adjustments to the plan if needed. In some cases, you want them to move faster. So we're going to add some PT. What this is a professional level prescriptive model service. And you're using that to get people to understand this is not a choose your own adventure where you might randomly get results. I have measured your results. I'm going to tell you when you're doing well. I'm going to adjust the plan if you're not. We are invested. We're meeting regularly. All of this sounds like a valuable service. It doesn't sound like use the lat pull downs for 20% off, right?
So we talked about product versus service. And I think it's really important to note here, like if you are running a chain gym where you're just selling access to equipment, you're not really running a service there, right? What you're doing is renting equipment time. And so those gyms are going to run Black Friday discounts because the name of their game is get people on a recurring monthly membership that they can't cancel because they're never going to come in. Yeah. A coaching business is dramatically different. And that's why to be a professional, you have to deliver value. You have to be confident in that value, and you have to not do the things that undermine that value, like negotiating discounts with people. It really just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And in our State of the Industry report, we saw some profit margin stats. They're not 40%, right? They're in the range of a lot of them. And these are averages, right? So there are gyms that are doing very well in terms of profit margin, but I believe the average, if I'm not mistaken, was 22% for big group gyms. So that's not the hugest profit margin of all time. If you offer a 15% discount, your profit margin is now 7%, and that's like a sneeze away from being 0. And if you offer 20%, you're in trouble. And so that's an average. So again, there are gyms out there whose profit margin is maybe 12%.
Yeah.
Think about a discount at that point. So all of a sudden you're training for free. And I did this. Like I made this mistake, Chris, and you helped me fix it. But it was like I had some founding members and I charged them for an unlimited membership, $84 a month. And so they were coming for like $4 or $5 a visit, something like that. And I'd get 2 or 3 of them in my 6 a.m. class. And I was realizing that I was paying the coach 25. These people were kicking in 15. I was literally paying for their memberships. And I did this for a decade. They helped me start the gym. I felt really, like I needed to honor that. But it wasn't a wise business decision, right? So you've seen these discounts all over the place.
Actually, I'll tell you how I handle that, Mike. This might be interesting is like, if you have somebody who is truly the victim of some acute tragedy, their house burns down, and you say the most important part of their life now is my gym, and this is where they find normalcy and routine and their friends, I just want them to come for free until their house gets rebuilt. Okay, take the money out of your pocket and pay their membership from your pocket from your income. It's really the same thing, taxes aside, as giving them a free membership, but you will feel it. The problem that most people have when they're giving away free memberships or like scholarships or discounts is they don't feel the immediate pain of doing it. They don't feel it till they're way down the road. They're looking at their 5 a.m. class going, wait a minute, these grandfathered rates are paying like $9 total for this hour.
I wish it was $9.
Exactly. Yeah. Why am I not sleeping? And then it's like, oh my goodness, it's going to be really hard to change this, and you and the mentor go through this painful process. You're far better to take the money out of your own pocket and pay for the person so you don't forget that scholarship is there. And also, you really do feel like you're contributing something instead of just one more head. The myth of these big group gyms, especially, and this is really prevalent in CrossFit, is it's another dollar. One more person is another $1.25 that I'm making. You forget about the costs associated with adding headcount, right? And you forget about that this add one more person to make another buck only works in a commoditized service, which means like big group classes where you're just churning people all day. And the problem with commoditization is that, nobody can tell the difference between your big group class and that big group class next door. And so whoever has the lowest price is going to, win the race to the bottom. And what happens when you have like cut rate pricing is that the consumer appears to benefit, right? So Walmart comes into your town, they're charging $1 less for a sheaf of paper, 50 cents less for a toothbrush. The consumer is like, I'm winning, until all the local retailers, the local drugstores are gone. And then Walmart's prices start to creep up. And the consumer is like, what happened? Well, that's the same thing that happens in a gym business in your town. If a consumer is taught, like, just pick the lowest price, everybody's the same, then they go to the lowest price gym. The real professionals go out of business. They all go get jobs selling houses. And eventually that low price gym is the only one left, but they're not making money either. So they either go to business and screw everybody, or their prices have to come up. Like, nobody wins when service professionals discount their rates.
And I really don't like having groups of people who are paying different things in the same gym, because I'm trying my very hardest with each and every one of them. So it's like Kim is paying $50 and Sean is paying $75 and he's paying $120. And it's like, and then they start talking maybe, and like, what's going on? Like, it feels weird to me because I'm giving 100% to all three of those people, and that's kind of the way you got to look at it. Chris, this guide, we put this thing out every year and we help gym owners not discount things on Black Friday. Where can gym owners get it tomorrow, November 19th?
Go to gymownersunited.com. You'll see it pinned at the top of the page. And all you have to do is send me a DM. A lot of people see these pinned posts and they make a comment like, me, please. But, the Facebook algorithm sometimes hides those comments from me. It's better if you just shoot me a DM. This is also why I get to be at my friend limit on Facebook a lot. But what we try to do is give that to you and then say, hey, how are things going with your gym, to see how else we can help, So you're starting a conversation with me, and, maybe that'll lead to a conversation with our team. But if not, just take this guide and use it, grow your gym.
GymOwnersUnited.com, November 19th. And you can DM Chris on Facebook if you're already friends. Chris, thanks so much for laying this out. We'll have a discount for you Black Friday.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for listening to Run a Profitable Gym. Please subscribe for more shows so you don't miss anything like this. And again, Chris's new guide, GymOwnersUnited.com, the Gym Owner's Guide to a Discount-Free Black Friday will be there. Check it out or DM him on Facebook. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you listening.